Good morning. It is 8:10 in the morning, and it is bright and early and beautiful in downtown Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And we are recording a podcast live at Pagosa Springs Barbershop. Welcome. I've got a guest this morning. You might be watching on the video, but I've got a friend, a guest, a barber, a guy who's listened to me run my mouth for a solid half decade at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've got Adolfo, another barber that works here at Pagosa Springs Barbershop, and he got up early this morning, got here on time, and if you notice, we have a third chair over here. Somebody didn't make it this morning.
She's slacking.
She is definitely slacking. Taylor, yep, I'm going to pick on you. I thought we had coordinated this, but at the same time, I didn't send out that last second text message. I usually send it out just reminding everybody of something that's coming up. If I have vacation, something like that, usually I will shoot that out. But I didn't do that this morning. My day ran together yesterday. I'm up early again this morning, and I should have done it, but that's on me. I didn't do it. So, but clearly Adolfo and I had a chat.
Yeah.
Because he's here.
Yep.
Adolfo, welcome, man.
Well, thank you, man. Good morning, guys.
Yeah. We're trying this podcast thing. We put the microphones in front of us this morning. It's all a brand new setup. It's new and slightly unfamiliar territory as far as being mic'd. Now, I run my mouth, and the microphone's just an addition to this. It's a natural progression of this process. You hear him laugh. If you know Adolfo, like if I get him on the laugh, that's it, man. That's it. I've always warned him, don't laugh, dude, or I'm going to keep saying it, all right? Even if it's stupid. But
that's just me agreeing with him. But yeah, he can talk for sure.
And Adolfo, would you call yourself a talker?
No, not really. No, I wouldn't say you have to kind of like drag it out of me. But I can't just keep going kind of like you. That's not a bad thing, but I can't, we got to have a topic or whatever to keep going, but
sure.
I can't just, talk out of thin air kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it takes a certain level of narcissism to do that, just so you know. It's funny though about Adolfo. Adolfo's worked with me, and you hear me. Sometimes I'll blast past the A, and it'll almost come out as Dolfo. Yeah, it'll almost do that over the years, and my kids do that too. Yeah. Adolfo doesn't necessarily refer to himself as a talker. I wouldn't cast him as a talker. He is a skill set barber, if you asked me. But he has a wonderful family, and his dad, wonderful person, but his dad can talk.
Yeah, he reminds me pretty good, like you. You guys can both chat, and I cannot do that.
Yeah. I've always appreciated that about his dad, his ability to walk in, and he can chat with you, man. And my father-in-law is another person that is a chatter.
Same thing. He's a super nice guy, but kind of him too. You see them in the store, they'll ping you a little bit.
Yeah.
Same thing with my dad. I'll see him and I'm like, oh dang. Or I'll get a phone call from him, and I'm like, "Damn, this is a 20-minute talk already." So I get it.
Yeah. Adolfo, how long you worked here?
I believe going on 6 years.
Yeah.
September 6. Yeah, because I started in 2019. So yeah,
wow,
almost 6 years.
Yeah, rounding a 6-year corner here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how have the miles accumulated on you as far as barbering goes? You still like it?
Oh yeah, I definitely still enjoy it. I like what I do. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah.
There's been rough times here and there for sure. Like whenever I moved to Texas, that was pretty rough. That was pretty new for me. That was another shop because my whole barbering career, you could say, I have been here.
Sure.
And then we switched over there, and that was a whole 180. And just to say that I'm definitely glad to be back.
Right on.
So
right
for
on.
sure.
Did you miss it while you were gone?
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay, what'd you miss? Not the bar. You don't have to talk about the barbershop, but what'd you miss most when you left Pagosa for that? It was about a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about a year.
Somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And you went down to Fort Worth. Was it Fort Worth?
Fort Worth. Yeah.
Okay, so he had left about 2-3 years into barbering here, had worked with me,
Yep.
and then went south. He and his girlfriend at the time had some things to go take care of in life and move forward, go get some better training in some other areas that, if you know Pagosa Springs, we don't have a lot as far as that goes.
Yeah.
We don't have schools. Now there's online stuff. But as far as the service industry goes, if you want to go be a barber or cosmetologist, you do have to return to a city or somewhere that has that school.
Correct.
We don't have it, and I don't believe there's an online program for it that I'm familiar with.
I mean, a lot of things are pretty hands-on. So
Sure.
As far as online goes, I don't know how that would work, but
Well, you see that they have like a culinary online. I don't know if you've seen that,
No,
but you can go get your culinary degree online.
oh wow,
Oh yeah, and I've had 2 guys come through the chairs that they got a culinary online degree, and then they've now moved into a kitchen. I think that they have to do photographs and things, submissions. But I would guess that if this career evolved education-wise outside of the standard format of where you have to attend, I have to prepare 250 haircuts, perms, all that stuff, the checklist that the cosmetologist or the barber has to go through, that would be my guess of what they would have to do is photo submissions, stuff like that, and then eventually, get signed off somewhere. But when they headed south, they came back, and now he's been back for
about a year and a half.
Year and a half?
About a year and a half, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what did you learn? What did you learn in Fort Worth that you hadn't learned here?
Oh, geez.
Oh, that many lessons, huh?
Well, the haircuts were different.
Okay. All right. Give me an example.
Well, the like what haircut? Or?
Yeah. Well, like you say, the haircuts were different down there.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? What's the difference in a haircut here in the mountains of Colorado, small town Colorado, small town Southwest, almost a Western culture out here, versus Fort Worth? What do you notice in different?
Well, at that time, I feel like Pagosa is kind of always late to trends. And I'm talking about haircuts. And whenever we moved down there, and I started working down there, those tapers, which at that time, I didn't do them as much here. I mean, I knew that they were pretty popular in the city, but the kids here, people here were not getting them as much as they were down there. And that was definitely something kind of that not surprised me, but that I had to get down right away, because that was your moneymaker. I mean, every kid that would walk in would want a taper and a design or something like that. And it's one of those things whether you get it down or you're not making money for it.
Okay.
And if you remember, around the time I started here, I remember a young kid here asked me for a taper, and I was still pretty new at barbering, and I didn't feel comfortable doing tapers because I'm always aware of what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
And at that time,
Now,
I could not do it.
if you're asking me, he's at this point in time, he can do everything. All right. But at that time, might have had a different skill set
Yeah.
coming out from just under, my tutelage at
Yeah.
that time, or my exposure.
Yeah, and this kid that I'm, remembering in particular, he wanted a taper, and I did not feel comfortable. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, man, I don't feel, I'll tell you, I'll be straight up with you. I don't feel comfortable with it yet. You might as well wait on Cade." And so he ended up waiting on you, and
And never came back, right?
maybe. No, they were. I don't know. They were those kids from Española that would come here.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking
those
about.
three.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'll always remember I passed him just because at that time, again, I wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, looking back, thinking about how did that make you feel? Having to pass that kid off. At that time, given where you were at in your career. Now, Adolfo had worked with me, and so there's a lot of things that he probably had seen with me. And I always tell young people that the modern taper that is out there right now is not the taper that I was taught.
Yeah.
Okay. Or that coming up, and now every barbershop is different. Every barbershop has a different stylistic tendency. Adolfo will tell you that he does not cut hair like me. I don't cut hair like Adolfo. And that's been something that the shop has always been a part of the shop, is that I'm not trying to push him into a box, and I don't think he's trying to bump me back into a box or anything like that. Do your thing, make your money that way. But going back to the taper, the modern taper that young guys are bringing in right now, with the broccoli hair, if you're listening at that age, or the alpaca hair, and they bring in the sides, it's a very good, clean look. Okay, almost reminiscent to the early 90s, late 80s, when guys used to sit their hat on top of their head. I remember those bros that were older than me, those teenagers and stuff like that. It's very reminiscent of that. But when I got taught the taper, it was the old man taper. It was I wear a suit, or I'm going to attend church. I probably still button my shirt in. I wear slacks type of a character. That would be that type of grandfather. You'll hear in the background, Taylor has finally arrived.
Wow.
And we are going to harass her while she can't even defend herself. But I wanted to try to open the door. Go ahead. You're good. I wanted to try to open the door for chatting with Adolfo this morning and letting you get his voice on the podcast. Let him introduce himself. Adolfo, where are you from?
Originally, I was born in Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico, at that, but I was brought young over here, actually, to Pagosa Springs. So this is the town I grew up. I went to school. I went to school here, kindergarten through graduation, and I'm still here since. So this is where I've been pretty much my whole life, other than moving to Texas. And when I went to barber school, I moved. Well, not moved, but I was in Farmington Monday through Friday. But I mean, that was only a 2-hour drive, so I was already pretty much here. But other than that, I mean, I have been in Pagosa my whole life.
Gotcha. Yeah. And your family's still here?
Yeah, a lot. Most of it.
Most of
honestly,
it. Well, like anybody's family,
Yeah.
there's a few stray cats that have left the
Yeah.
left the alley.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
Taylor hadn't done a mic check or anything with us, but if she wants to lean to the microphone, we'll get her super loud, obnoxious, overbearing voice on the microphone and see. Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me see if I can turn you up
I
and
was gonna
get
say,
you
was that loud enough?
get you a check. How are you this morning?
Lovely as always. I'm lacking coffee though, so
Really?
okay.
I see something behind. I see iced coffee sitting behind her.
It doesn't count because it's not cold. Coffee only counts when it's cold.
Oh, I thought you said it's not cool.
I thought,
Can you hear us as well?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, like I said.
Can you hear me?
Okay, so the mix-up
Yeah.
that we ran into this morning is that I thought that I had notified everybody. Apparently, I had notified 66% of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so she knows, Taylor has lost the vote. She was notified. The poor Taylor. She is okay. Let's celebrate Taylor right quick before we just absolutely pick on her. Okay.
About time. Thank
Okay,
you.
Taylor. Let's see. Good morning, Taylor. Let's see. How long you been working here?
Oh God, it feels like 10
Oh
years.
God. She led in with
Wow.
an oh God.
If you knew them like I knew them, you would understand the oh God. But it's been it's been about 2.5 years now. Because I've only been in Pagosa for 3 years, so
Okay.
only about 2.5.
Only 2.5.
Wow.
So that's not the worst
Dude, that
duration.
That door is not locked.
No,
That door is
I
not
literally just
Yeah.
looked around her and I was like, here, I'll get it right quick.
Not my first thought when I walked in and saw this setup.
That's okay. All right, so Adolfo referenced the door being unlocked, and every one of us is absolutely fearful that somebody is going to make their way in. We hide. You don't know this out there, but we absolutely hide behind the locked door. Well, now, you heard me reference earlier that Adolfo is more of a skill set based barber. So, in other words, he's not leading in with a conversation. He's going to look at your picture, and he is going to do that. And you can be confident that that is the haircut you are going to get. Now, Taylor is a skill set and a personality based barber. Would you agree?
Most days, yes.
Okay.
Okay, we all have days. Okay, let's be honest here.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Are you saying that you're seeing our days around the shop? Is that what you're saying? Is that why you said we all have days?
Well, no. It's just to help me feel better about me not having my days. So I'm throwing everybody in there, you know?
I didn't realize there was a bus driving by and she's just shoving us under. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, good captain always goes down with the ship, right?
See, this is why Taylor works so well in the barbershop. So to brag on her, Taylor is the only barber in town, only female barber in town. Okay, let me correct that. She's not the only barber. She is the only female barber in town. So she is definitely in a league of her own compared to the other females in town that cut hair. Would you agree with this?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you cut men's hair? What led you down this path?
It was honestly an accident. Fully expected. So I fully expected into going into like female's hair and like wedding makeup and everything. And I literally got out of school, was gonna build up my portfolio, and my best friend's like, "Hey, you want to come work with me here while you figure the rest out?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And that was almost 10 years ago. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I guess my best friend then.
How long did you actually work in a salon?
Never.
Never? You never appeared in a salon?
No, I was only doing makeup kind of like outside for
Okay.
friends and like families, events and stuff.
Do you still do makeup?
No.
Well, I think, okay. I didn't realize she was using herself as an example there. I thought she was just about to go into tears. I had no idea. I thought, to give her credit, she literally walked straight into the microphone right now. So if you're hearing her voice a little shaky, it's because we just threw a microphone directly into her face and firing questions about her at her.
I'll be honest, this is a little more of a setup than I was expecting to walk into.
Would
I was
you-
expecting little mics. Like I saw you had that on your video and everything, but yeah, this is just more than expected.
You know what? I bet my wife would agree with you, just so you know. She hasn't seen the credit card bill.
Oh no.
Okay, so I think she would say the same thing, that maybe we should have tested this first, or maybe we should have ventured in. But no, Taylor's been here for about 2.5 years. Adolfo's been here for somewhere between 5.5 and 6 now. And man, I couldn't be more happy with the 3 barbers that are in here. It's the one guy that I always have a problem with, and that's me. But these 2, they are very consistent. Yeah, they definitely were waiting for like a setup on that one, but they've done a great job. I mean, to brag on Adolfo, to see him from day one on those first haircuts and how long those used to take, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You've came a long ways. I mean, it's miles and miles. Taylor, when she came in, I remember a young lady walking in, and you could, looking back, Adolfo's already laughing, but looking back, a young lady being nervous about walking into a new town and, hey, do you have any availability in here, or do you have any opportunity for me? And, you know, putting herself out there, especially in a male-dominated field. You ever bumped into that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's my favorite part.
Is that it's male-dominated?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, why? Why is that? Because why is that your, I can see the fangs coming out on her right there, but why is that your favorite part?
Like, I don't, nothing crazy about it. I remember when I was younger, my mom's a technician, so that's a male-dominated field. And she would always have comments about how she was in a different position than the men because she's a female, how she would make more money, how she would get better hours, kind of get whatever she, I don't want to say get whatever she wants, but she, just being a female in a male position, in a male field, it was like a power trip for her.
Okay.
So, again, never expected to get into this, but when I did, I definitely kind of noticed there's a different, I don't know, different tiers in it, and I get to be a bigger dog.
Okay. All right.
And I just like being mean to men, so that helps.
Well, that I would have guessed that one. The bigger dog, though, I didn't. I give you
That was a surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, is that one new to you? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, we both. If you are familiar with this barbershop, we are not all three in the same room at the same time. The spacing would allow it, but it's not a comfortable buffer between all of our conversations and things like that. And so one of us is in the other room, but we've all been able to work with each other in the room. Like right now, I am in the front room with Taylor, which I can already see her rolling in her eyes, and I can see the lack of coffee settling subtly onto her shoulders, just envisioning another 8-hour day of listening to my voice in the same room, echoing off these concrete walls. I know, I paint such a beautiful picture. Look at her. This poor girl.
There are days, anyways.
There are days. But Adolfo, like, to put it in perspective, let's see, it's probably been, 6 months that you and I have been in the same room? Probably a year of the whole duration. You and I have probably worked in the same room, about a year total. And then Adolfo and I, it would be give or take 5 plus 5 years almost that we were in the same room. So I always say that my voice is some layer of hell in his head. Just so you know.
It's funny because by now, 5 years into it, I can almost kind of tune him out, kind of thing, and he knows that. He knows that.
Yes.
It's taken 5 years to learn that ability. But
sometimes you got to ring the doorbell a couple more times. That's all I can say to get his attention. You just got to keep ringing that doorbell. All right, so let's get to the final question. That way we can kind of wrap it up. We got everybody's voice on air. We got some brief introductions. We will go into more depth with Taylor next time. Maybe we'll get a one-on-one with her. We'll get some one-on-ones from time to time. You'll see some one-on-ones just with me and the camera. I'm going to try to use AI to ask me some questions a couple times. There's going to be some different processes. Right now we're working through the steps of getting some live footage. Taylor and I have been doing some live filming this week. We did a day. We're trying to see how we want to utilize that footage, if it's utilizable, and if it could be used in court. It's basically what it really boils down to.
That's not a part of the deal.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what it really boils down to. Can it be used against me in court? That's really what we're going to find out. But, if you tune into the podcast, you're gonna hear some of our personalities come through. I'm learning more about this podcast thing and about how it's a more of a direct line to the user, to the consumer of the material. And so we're gonna bump into some questions along the way about barbering, maybe about lifestyle. I don't plan to hit too many racy questions. I was telling Adolfo about that. But if it comes up at that point, we'll probably discuss it, maybe pick it as a topic, and then that way we can come in prepped to talk to you about it. But I wanted to end with a question to each one of them. What is your favorite haircut to cut? And we will start with Taylor. And now just know that there's going to be the other side to it. What's your worst haircut that you hate, that you've ever done on somebody? So Taylor, let's start with you. Oh, I can see her already. She knows the answer to the other question. But let's start with what's your favorite haircut to perform?
Are we talking on like a consistent basis? Something?
No,
we see
just
like
however you took that question, however you want to answer it.
So, I don't know how familiar y'all are with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah.
But I had one guy who came in and had me cut an arrow into his head. So like a mohawk, but an arrow. And, it was a whole story about him and his son loved Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he was doing it for him. By far, funnest, weirdest, one of the easier haircuts I've had to do, but it's just one that always sticks with me.
Oh, I have not heard that story yet. And have you done an airbender haircut yet? Uh-oh.
I think so.
Uh-oh.
I think so. But it was on a friend, and he was just buzzing his hair.
Yeah.
And I think I have the video, and I decided to do the arrow from Avatar, like Aang. But yeah, and then I just shaved it off.
Right.
He didn't stick with it, but yeah.
I got
Okay.
receipts.
You got receipts?
100%.
Okay. Yeah. She's female. She's keeping records for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
No.
Everything can be used against you in a court of law. I keep track of that.
All right.
Dang,
All right.
okay.
That just limited the dating pool right there. Just so you know, the dating pool just went we down. It was like, well.
Do better, right?
True. I mean, it's hard to contest that, right? Okay. Did you have one?
Favorite or least favorite?
Least favorite.
Least favorite for me would be scissor cuts.
Okay. All scissor?
Yeah, all scissor. Yeah. I am definitely, well, I feel like I'm stronger with a clipper.
Okay.
Where as scissor, like, yes, I know how to do it and stuff, but when someone comes and sits down in my chair and, requests a full haircut with scissors, like it throws me off a little bit.
Gotcha.
Where again, I feel like I can do the same work. And again, I'm talking about longer hair. Sometimes I feel like I can do the same work with my clipper.
Gotcha.
So I'm definitely stronger on my clipper.
Yeah. They're just mechanical scissors, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep.
No, you.
Well, so I think that's where Cosmo helped me is the fact of I feel very confident in my scissor cuts.
Sure.
Taper sometimes questionable. And that's what he's here for.
Sure.
So that's actually, I would say, my favorite haircut.
Taper. Okay, that was a good lead back in. Taper is your favorite, which you've heard me say it. I always pick on the tapers. That I've always joked he can have them if he wants them, and I say that ain't even a joke. Like that's.
Well, I feel like at first when you're barely like learning them or just getting used to them, like yes, they're a pain, but I feel like by now I am faster at them, so they don't take me as much time. As when I was first learning them, of course. So to me, at this point, they're easier haircuts.
Gotcha.
They're easier and quick haircuts for sure.
Well, then that's what they say. If you lean into something that you are challenged by,
yeah,
most likely you'll overcome the challenge, right? Like,
yeah, well, like we were talking about earlier, that was my not favorite haircut.
Sure.
not that many years back. So
Yeah.
and now it's one of my. I do them every day.
I was gonna say that. I would say that is probably one of your money makers.
It is probably my number one money maker.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, and that's good to know. I mean, Taylor, what's your favorite? Or
Scissor
what
cuts?
would you say is your number one money maker?
Um,
I mean, that's a good way
Probably-
to think of it.
Probably scissor cuts. Honestly.
Scissor cuts?
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a lot of requests for that?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. You would
Quite
say
a
so,
few.
or you do?
Yes. Just yes.
But okay, if you had to pick between a clipper cut and a scissor cut, which would you pick to perform for someone as a service?
Specifically, a 2 on the side and finger length up top.
Okay. And that you've heard.
That's Cade's haircut, man.
You've heard me say that
Cade
before.
has said that
There's
always.
a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I was a young barber, the advanced haircuts were the mountains to climb, right? Those were the challenges to overcome. Whether that be curly hair, because I don't have. If you looked at me, I don't have curly hair, so that would be a challenge to me. Or long hair, I don't have long hair, so those challenges were cool to anticipate and to overcome at that time. But now, 2 on the sides and 2 fingers on top is probably what I would say is my moneymaker, and probably my favorite haircut to perform. It's very robotic for me, but at the same time, it is probably the most requested haircut that I see in this barbershop. Now, each barber might have a little bit different demand for different services, but I think as a whole, it's somewhere between a 2 and a 4 on the side, and somewhere between 1 finger and, let's say, 3 on top, I would think is probably your most common haircut throughout the barbershop. But yeah, I think I could agree with that.
I feel like I don't get as many as probably.
Not anymore. No, you've definitely created your lane that may not have as many of those in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing.
Yeah. Right on. Well, we're going to start wrapping it up. I can hear some echo in the background, but we're going to start wrapping it up. Thank you for tuning in to Cut Up and Listen. And if you don't know, Taylor actually came up with the name. Cut Up and Listen. So that just is a insight into her sparkling personality over there. She can come up with things like that. I mean, she's pretty witty.
If you've ever watched Princess Diaries, you would understand. Okay.
And Adolfo, have you watched Princess Diaries?
No.
You're missing out.
Okay. Now be honest. Have you ventured into Princess Diaries because you dated a princess?
No.
Okay. See, I haven't either. I don't recall. I have daughters now, so Princess Diaries might start making an appearance.
I hope so.
It'll soften me. It'll make me a better person, a better barber.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. You're listening to Cut Up and Listen, a podcast recorded live at Pagosa Springs Barbershop. I want to thank Adolfo and Taylor for coming in this morning, putting on the microphone. Although intimidating as a first opportunity today, especially for Taylor, walking in straight into the microphone. But
I was not aware of this.
I will get the logistics worked out. I will take the hit. I will not put this back on Taylor. Like you heard me earlier, I didn't send out the last second text message. So that's on me. I didn't do that.
Well, she should do better.
I respect that, and you're right. I could always do better.
Yeah. Come on. But thanks for listening. You're listening to Pagosa Springs Barbershop. We are home of the free beer, where with every haircut you come in, you're 21 and up, grab a beer out of our fridge. Help yourself. We keep 7 types of beer and lame old water in there. If you're lame like that, you're welcome to get some water. But you're welcome to help yourself to a beer. We have Nintendos around the corner. You're welcome to go over there, grab a controller, play some Super Nintendo, play some Street Fighter, turn around, grab the 8-bit, play some Excitebike, which seems to be the most popular game for kids over there, the motorcycle game. But you're welcome to hang out, wait, get in Adolfo's chair, get in Taylor's chair, end up in my chair. Hopefully you'll get to experience more of their personalities, more of their haircut, their styling, their skill set. I'm happy to have them and thankful that they came in this morning and are able to spend some time with us. But thanks for tuning in. And again, this is Cut Up and Listen, a podcast recorded live at Pagosa Springs Barbershop. We'll see you next time.